Our nightcap is still here, and we are talking the summer of strikes. Hollywood is still on hiatus, with the WGA and SAG-AFTRA on strike after contract talks broke down with major studios represented by the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. Of course, we should note that Comcast, the corporation that owns our parent company, NBC Universal, is one of those entertainment companies represented by that alliance. Bill, you literally wrote the book not once, but twice on late night TV, and now all those shows are running reruns. How do you see this playing out?
Well, it's going to play out differently from when the last strike happened and to shut down late night TV. Clearly, because what really happened here was that the studios, because of streaming and Netflix, how Netflix shook up the industry, they basically scrapped their own business model. They threw it out the window. They basically said, okay, we all have to become streaming networks, and we all have to get sub fees, and we got to make fewer episodes of shows and spend more money on them. And they're losing their shirt on this business. It doesn't really work financially at all. And they consented to that. And what was really interesting is that Iger this week comes out and talks about this, and he basically says, we're going to charge way more money now for the sub fees. And the future is that we put ads back on shows. We're going to put ads back on shows. So what are they doing? They're going back to cable TV model. They're basically saying sub fees and commercials, what you didn't want when you all signed up for streaming, that's the way for us to make money. We can't make money this other way. So they have to go back to this business model, and it affects the strike dramatically because they threw out the way they could actually compensate writers and actors with residuals and resales of shows and everything. Those are not worth anything to those people anymore. So whatever solution they come up with, they have to address this somehow.
Well, then does that mean, Steve, if suddenly Hulu, Disney Plus charges more money, let's say they get a big boost in subscriptions like Netflix did, are any of those actors, writers, performers going to see any of that dough?
That's what the fight is about. It's about a technological change, and it's a fight about, you haven't even asked about the AI issue, which is there as well. And look, to me, I don't know that much about the media business, but what I did cover once in my life was the oil business. And what do? They take stuff out of the ground, they pipe it, and they sell it at the front. This idea of the vertically integrated media company that looks like an oil company, I'm not sure it's working. I don't think they have the expertise at all aspects of this to really make a go of it. And to me,
the big difference is they don't put the oil on the ground. The writers and the actors put the oil on the ground.
And let's talk about them.
They can't control that.
Abby, you are a writer. Do you really think we're going to get to a place where AI and a chatbot is going to replace writing? I mean, even actors, this idea, like, do you think Barbie was going to make $1 billion this week if it was a computer-generated Margot Robbie?
I sure hope not. But I spoke with a Hollywood writer this week, and this person characterized some of these statements coming from Iger, from unnamed sources on the studio side, saying things like they want to, make this last so long they're going to drive writers out of their homes. That is only going to make this last longer. This is a stalemate. This writer said it took a risky strategy and has turned it into a righteous cause. And so this is, as the temperature escalates on this, it is likely only going to prolong this.
Do you think it gives the writers, the actors, a lot more power in this strike? That the last time strikes existed, there was no social media, right? They did not have a voice that they could connect with us so we could see it. All of this was behind closed doors. Not anymore.
Yeah, but I think it even goes beyond that. I think that it's incredibly rich that you have these executives saying, we can't pay writers more because our business model isn't viable. And these are people who are heads of the biggest companies in America. So I think the free hand of the market would have an answer that if you can't sustain your business model, then there is a very strong chance that something will come in and find a way for writers and actors to keep creating their craft.
But is it
Look
one
at TikTok?
Of the,
you could make a movie on TikTok. You could make a series of
but your average writer out there isn't going to say, I'm writing on a show and now I'm going to be a TikTok star. It's just not going to work that way. We're talking about millions of people here.
No, but I do think there is a chance for another distribution channel. Technology is going to move faster than I think these negotiations will. And I think that it's a question of a platform.
But do the studios...
If they let AI come in, they're going to completely alter this because you cannot... I can't even fathom this, that you're going to say, okay, we don't need this... the star will be the same, but all the rest of the actors could just be models of themselves.
Is that why the studios are holding out? Because they actually know that AI is around the corner,
and it can save them
and it's
huge amounts of money.
emotional, and it's upsetting to see what is happening to writers and actors. But these studios can hold out because they're saying, I can and will own your likeness,
Listen,
and I don't need extra.
Holding out now is really dumb. They just had a massive movie revival. They had two movies come out, and they made, and instead of being able to capitalize on that, there's no work going on. They have no pipeline. The films are going to not be in production. Instead of capitalizing, they can't even get the stars to promote the movies this summer now because they're all on strike. They've done such damage to their core business by doing this. Instead of forward thinking and saying, let's bring the writers and the actors in some way economically. I think that's the only answer.
So I just want to give you the economics viewpoint on this, which is an economist. I was talking to an economist the other day. He said, let's say they come up with an AI that can do your job. Are you better or worse off? My answer was worse off. He goes, no, that's not the answer. The answer is, who owns the AI? He goes, we don't have a technology problem. We have an ownership problem.
Bingo.
Which is a really interesting question to me, because when you start talking about the studios having having AI that does the work of the writers could have the AI that does their work for them.
You are getting abstract.
It's a little
You're getting abstract.
And then
AI is going to hurt
bring on that the
someone.
distribution idea.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe the studios don't have the monopoly they think they have.
I agree with you. Let's say you have what Substack did for writers about a year ago. Let's say you have that for people who can create scripted content. I don't know where that is. I'm not the one coming up with it, but I do think that it's not that there's no chance that that could come up. And I think that ultimately you have these writers, and they're the ones who are, if AI will hurt people who are not good at their jobs, but people who are good at their jobs and are able to learn how to use AI to their advantage.
But you're a living example, right? If there weren't all of these platform outlets, if there were 3 network channels, Betches would not have a home, because someone would say, well, that is not going to play with an audience and who knows where,
Who distributes
right?
your podcast?
I do. My company does. Yeah.
Mic drop.